What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about the early big success of Clair Obscur Expedition 33. You guys know I like to do this when a new game comes out, and look, I've obviously been championing this game. I want to. I was always going to kind of do it, ahead of time. I probably should say for legal reasons, of course. They did give me a code, but you know what? Again, I would have made this video anyway. This game freaking rocks. I'm slowly making my way through it. I'll give you guys a review as quickly as humanly possible, as well as other maybe like breakdown type videos. But I got to talk about, if there is early success for a game I love, I'm going to make a video on it. So kind of two things to talk about. Number one is they actually talked about the copies sold. Now, this is interesting that they did that because later on today on this channel, I'm going to talk about Oblivion. And I'm not saying this game outsold Oblivion because it absolutely didn't. But the way that this game said it versus how Oblivion said it is actually, I think, interesting because this one literally says copies sold. And you have to remember that it's also on Game Pass, right? And that might play a factor into the next thing we'll talk about with Expedition 33. But 500,000 units sold. And I mean, a day. They did it in one day. That is, look, you might see 500,000 and say that's it. It's not, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million. I think we're used to, as a society, seeing games that come out and saying, oh, in 24, 48 hours, oh, it got 3, 4 million sales. I mean, that happens, but it only happens, I think, with some of the big dogs. You think about how many games release in a given year. It's a minority, games that can sell that much that quickly, okay? Another thing to remember is 500,000 copies sold, so 500,000, right? This is a team that, and it's been, publicized, talked about so much. And I think we got to be a little careful of how we're saying it, but overall, I do think it makes a pretty strong point. This was made by, I believe, somebody I think found like a work page of it. I think around 33 people, which is funny because of the name. It's being reported like 30, around 30, but I think people are estimating it. I think it had 33 full-time workers, so I'm not 100% sure. I mean, maybe it drops to 32, maybe it's 34, but this is a small studio, and this is a game that, I've said this on social media as well, like, this is not a game you need to sell. It shouldn't be, at least, and I really don't believe it is. This game doesn't need 5 million units, right? Like, it might get there. It absolutely might sell 5 million, like Lifetime, and games of the same kind of stature, I think, have done similar things, but, for this, it doesn't need to do 5 million to, say, start to break even, to be honest with you. Now, this is a leap. I don't know this for sure. This is speculation. I would imagine it's probably already broken even. I mean, 500K, you're selling it for $50. You're not selling it $60, $70, $80, but I don't know. I mean, 500,000, even if it gets to 1 million, I imagine they start to see profits in like a day or two. Like, I really don't think it's going to take all that long for them to start making money off this thing. So that to me is that's why I make these videos, to be honest, or part of the reason at least. Them selling 500 versus 600,000, it doesn't really change my life, but you know what? I guess inadvertently or in a way it kind of can, because really why I do these things, or part of the reason is, these things can lead to future things, right? Like if the game does well, it sells, makes money, then maybe they can make a sequel. But that goes to, what I was just saying. I don't think it needs to make 5 million sales in order for them to consider it a success. I honestly feel like it's already successful, or it's going to be very, very soon. And again, this doesn't count Game Pass. And also that's kind of tough because, like, what does Game Pass mean to them? It is eyes on the game. I'm not saying, it's not that. It definitely is, but it probably matters more like the contract that they made with Xbox, like, or, Microsoft, like how much money did they make up front from that? And is that going to help them plus the copies sold, right? Like, how do those things kind of combine? Now, another thing people are pulling up is, and I don't think we're at the end of this story yet, is of course the Steam database numbers. Now, we talk a lot about this, on the channel. You got to take it with a little bit of a grain of salt. People have done some deep dives into it, and it's like, the estimated sales on this are normally pretty wrong, or, and they can sometimes be in the ballpark, but they can vary from time to time. But also, like, the concurrent players, right? How many people are playing at one time? That's not the sales, right? It's normally probably 2, 3, 4 times that number. So that's, it's not the be all end all. But when I'm recording this, just like off the top here, well, actually, first thing you could look at, almost 92%. 92% reviews. That is really high. Now, like Lost Records had that, but it had that based off like 1,000 reviews. This one has at 9,000 reviews. That's a lot. And to be sitting at almost a freaking 92 with 9,000 reviews, that, people really like this game. I would say the people that are actually reviewing it really like it. 45, almost 46,000 people playing it currently. And the all-time peak was actually, earlier today, 10 hours at the time I'm recording, 71,000. That is pretty good. Like, that is, it was sitting, I think, somewhere in like the 30, 40, 50K range, kind of at launch, and people are like, this is pretty good. You might want it to do a little bit more. Firstly, I think even if it got 50K, that's still looking really good, because even, okay, you say that trick I was saying, right? So say 71K. You probably times that by 3 or 4, and that's roughly where you're looking at sales. So you're looking probably at 2, 3, 400,000 people that got this game on Steam. Now, 500,000 in all. The number is going to keep going up. I mean, I think this game is going to hit 1 million sales in just a few days. And the final thing to kind of remind yourself of is, again, this is Steam database. This is not Game Pass, right? I mean, it's not PlayStation. It's actually not a lot of things, but to be fair. But, this is not including Game Pass numbers or anything. So this is just pure people on Steam that are actually buying the game, okay? And this is probably reaching, 200,000+ people that have done it, and 71K playing it concurrently. That's really good. And, it's a Friday morning kind of is when it reached that peak. I imagine it's gonna beat it. I think it would happen, tomorrow or Sunday. Normally the weekend is when it hits it. Sometimes it's Sunday, sometimes it's like midday Saturday. So we'll see. I mean, I think it could hit 80, 90K. Don't know if it could do 100+, but again, they're nice numbers to look at. They don't, the difference between 82,000, 85,000, like, what does that really matter? It's not all that much. This game is doing extremely good. I know it's, getting into a war with Oblivion and all that stuff, and there's a lot of narratives there, but the success I think this game is having for what it needs to do, right? Like, it's going up against Oblivion, but it's really not. It really has to focus on itself as it has. The game's doing great. Like, that's like, I kind of want to drive it home. Like, if you're worried about the game, which I've seen people on social media kind of do that, I would not be worried about this game. I think this game is going to be a huge success, and maybe it would have been an even bigger one without Oblivion, but I don't think it's getting destroyed or anything because of it. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.